Welcome back to Normal Baseball. Bryan Reynolds was finally extended by the Pirates. The Astros took a series in Tampa, and the NL West is actually up for grabs. Let's get into it. What's going on? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Normal Baseball Podcast. I'm Alex Normal Dog. That's Lewis. And we are back after yet another week of baseball. Another series in the books. I believe this is series whatever. I was going to say 10 of the year. Something
Sounds
like that.
about right.
It's we're almost a month into the season. And on Sunday will have been a month into the season, right? I believe that's the 30th.
I think that's right.
And yeah, it's exciting. It's crazy to think we're already a month in because it certainly has not felt like a month.
I don't know. Been a lot of action around the league, and as sad as it is to say, baseball is it's started.
There's been a lot of action. You're right, but it's flown by and it hasn't felt like a month, which I guess is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing.
I can understand that.
I just want more baseball, but we're getting more baseball, so
of course,
very excited. A lot happened this week. You got what? Just thoughts. Any thoughts on the mind?
Great week, financially for some players. Great week for some teams, really getting back on track, and other teams are kind of limping into their weekend series, which it might not be the best look. So let's break it all down and let's talk about everything that happened all week.
Let's do it. That's got me hype. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
You want a velo slap?
I do not want a velo slap,
Okay.
no.
Okay, just offering.
So let's talk about something that happened before games, the money one that you were talking about before.
Nope.
Bryan Reynolds has been extended by the Pirates. It's about time. The deal has finally happened. It is for 8 years, $106.75 million, but if you take out this year, it's just a 7-year, $100 million extension. That's kind of really what it is.
Yeah.
It's like $14.4 million a year when you average it out. Obviously, I think it's more bulk towards the end, but it's $14.4 million when you average it out. Good for Bryan Reynolds. Let's clap it up. Finally getting that extension.
Congratulations, Bryan Reynolds.
It's very funny because he's getting the same extension that was offered to him before the season started. And the first time they offered him that, he requested a trade. And now suddenly that the team is doing so good, he's fine with it. And he took the same amount of money. Why do you think that is?
Well, first off, let's just say biggest contract in Pirates history. Round of applause. Good job. I think that he took it, one, because it gave him the extra year. I believe the original offer was 7 years, not the 8th year. So they got that. And the main issue why he declined the first offer was that there was no trade clause. There was no any of that. It was just straight up. And this final deal that they agreed upon and that Bryan Reynolds is signing has a modified no trade clause that I haven't seen any specifics on what teams are excluded from the no trade clause, but I can imagine they're all the big players, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, maybe even the Phillies. I'm trying to just think of really teams that like to spend a lot of money, teams that are willing to go for it all, teams that are competitive.
Yeah.
I feel like those are the 6 teams that are probably not on it, or it could just be like the Rangers and the Astros. It could just be like down south, far away from Pittsburgh teams. I'm not sure, and I don't think any of those come out yet. It doesn't matter.
They're not trading him.
I don't know.
Not right now, they ain't.
Oh, certainly not right now. Right now they're off to an 8-18 start. The Pirates are. Raise that Jolly Roger. Please do.
Raise the Jolly Roger.
It might be one of the coolest things to hear.
Now it is that they're doing good.
I mean, even before, it was still, I think it was a lot of fun.
It has a little less weight when you're 5th in the division, Now
True.
It means something.
Oh, yeah. It's super, it's fun.
They're 18-8. Best record in the National League. Just
doing a lot of clapping this episode.
There's a lot to clap for. We had a really, like we said, we had a really good week of baseball.
Sure.
They just took They just took 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers to, rather 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, which is incredible. Last year they swept the Dodgers. I was really hoping for another sweep.
That would have been fun.
But it didn't happen. The Dodgers broke their, I believe it was a 7-game win streak, but then they won 2 in a row to close out the series against them. They've just been really, really good. Everything's been clicking. You have, now this Bryan Reynolds extension that's probably, making everyone feel a little bit better. Hey, he's staying. He wants to be here. We're winning now, so he wants to be here now, and he's shown us that. You got Andrew McCutchen in there. You got, Carlos Santana, Rodolfo Castro, Ji-hwan Bae. There's just a lot to cheer for in Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah, and I will say that it's impressive with the offensive clinic that they've been able to put on time and time again, because the pitching staff has been just as shockingly good.
Oh, yeah.
And it's super impressive. Mitch Keller leading the charge as their number one, who's 2-0 on the season, starting 5 games, 29 2/3 innings pitched. And
what's his ERA?
It's a 3.64 for Pittsburgh and who they've played so far, especially getting through the Dodgers.
No, it's good. He's been good.
Yeah, and the rest of the rotation, no one has an ERA over 5 as of right now, and the closest one is Rich Hill, who's the only one over a 4 at a 4.85, and Dick Mountain just doesn't stop. So
Dick Mountain, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. Just let him do his thing.
Give him time.
Their hitting has been really, really good, like you said, and like you said as well, it hasn't just been their hitting; it's been their pitching, which has been a huge part of it, I think, so far. You can score a lot of runs, but if you give up just as many runs, if not more, it's not going to help. Which is, I'm not going to lie, kind of what the Athletics do. The Athletics have scored a good amount of runs, it feels like. They've had games where they scored 8. Yep. 6 is even a lot. 8, 6, 13. And somehow they're still by far the worst team in baseball with that 5-21 record. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy. Pirates leading the charge in the NL West. Who would have had that at the end of a month? Who would have had that?
Not me, for sure. It's a great sign if you're a Pirates fan, especially now. Think about it. They've locked up Bryan Reynolds, Brian Hayes, and and they have the young guys. Sorry. They didn't lock up anybody else, but they have the young guys. O'Neal Cruz, when he comes back. Ji-hwan Bae, who has been just an absolute sensation, a stud. Having Andrew McCutchen back to kind of lead the charge with all these younger guys has been a lot of fun to watch. It's just something that you don't get to see every day, something that you don't even get to see every year out of baseball and out of the MLB especially, that a team that's constructed like this is going on such a run, and it looks to be very sustainable. It's not like their offense is going out there and just outscoring their opponents. They're actually playing really well on both sides, and that's what's super important and super interesting as to why the Pirates are 18-8.
Yeah, I think a lot of it does start with it's less of just they're barely beating teams and more of like convincingly beating teams, especially good teams like the Dodgers and who have they played? Cardinals. I feel like there's another really good team they've played so far, but they've beaten everyone pretty much. And it's really impressive.
Houston, but
Houston
only took 1 out of the 3.
That's fine still, but they've played good teams, and they're convincingly winning some of these games. They're the hottest team in baseball. I'm a big Pirates guy, and I think it really, a lot of it starts with that Reynolds extension. Not starts with, but like it'll now continue with that Reynolds extension. That's just incredible news, not only for their clubhouse but for their organization. What I want to know is, do you think that their Bob Nutting is sitting there going, oh yeah, I knew we were going to be good this season? Because I do not think he was. I think he's like, oh shoot, I'm not spending that much money and we're winning.
Yeah.
This is great.
I think it's, and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Bob Nutting. I think that seeing a little bit of the success is why he extended Reynolds, is why he's like not, trying to still bargain with Bryan Reynolds, especially. I think he was like, you know what, this team can win. We gave an extension to the manager even, who's managed the ship really, really well.
They did give an extension to him.
And then they also extend Bryan Reynolds and give him the contract that he's earned. It's impressive, and I think that it should be a motivator for him. Go buy at the deadline. Tell your front office that you're willing to take on a $30 million contract if you have the assets to trade for it. I'm not saying that it would be possible, but I'm saying buy at the deadline. Tell teams that you're willing to take on half the salary for half the year of a player. If you are seeing success from a team that's barely being paid outside of your third baseman and your left center fielder or wherever Bryan Reynolds plays most of his games nowadays, if you're only paying those two guys and you're seeing a lot of success, why not bring someone else in who can really help bolster a lineup, who can help offensively, who can help defensively, and who can not only do all of that, but in the half a season or a season and a half or 2.5 seasons that he's in Pittsburgh, can coach the next generation of Pittsburgh Pirates. It would fit really well, and it would not surprise me if the Pirates actually did buy at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, their owner, Bob Nutting, said that they're not anywhere close to finished. That's obviously just a quote, and that was during the Reynolds conference, so how much of the truth is that? We'll see. Only time will tell. But that's still a really good look. If your owner just, signed this guy to a pretty good extension, he gave him what he wanted, he's knowing that the team is winning and he wants to do what he can, you're inclined to take his word for that. And it might not have felt like it the last few years that he was in that way of thinking, but now that he's come out and said, we're not done. Now is the time we want to win. We're winning this season. We want to keep winning. It's a fun feeling. It's great. And we want to keep doing it. And I think that's a really, really good look for Bob Nutting and the Pirates.
I think we've talked about it a million times already. The top free agent this year, Shohei Ohtani. Could he be heading to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
Oh, God. No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
They don't have that much money.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They don't have that much money in Pittsburgh.
Well, it's you pay him half in cash, half in equity in the team.
Okay, right. Gotcha. The rest of the NL Central is looking kind of weird, too. Obviously, we didn't expect the Cardinals to be on top. Obviously, we didn't expect the Pirates to be on top. The team we did expect to be on top, the St. Louis Cardinals, is currently 10-16 and in last place in the division. Below the Cincinnati Reds, below the Chicago Cubs, below the Milwaukee Brewers. No one, I say that heavily, I don't think anyone expected the Cardinals to be in last place as we approach the month mark to the season.
And I will be the first to admit that I did not expect it whatsoever. I just, we mentioned it, I feel like, in the last 3 episodes. No one knows what the hell's going on in St. Louis. As for the rest of the teams, because they honestly do deserve their time on this show, especially. The Cincinnati Reds, although they only have 10 wins and 15 losses, or 16 losses, I'm not sure what they did today, but although their record is just below 500, they have played a very good brand of baseball. And it does suck Will Myers is just hitting the IL for, I believe, 10 days.
Will Myers on the Reds.
Yeah, we're talking about Cincinnati.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But Will Myers just hit the IL for a couple of days, which doesn't really help too much. But I can't even name you 10 players on the Reds. But when I watch them play, it's actually a very fun, style of baseball. It's different because it's all these young guys who, yes, they have something to prove, but they also have nothing to lose. They're guaranteed the roster spot because it's not like the Reds have a top prospect that they're willing to call up at any moment. So they're having fun and they're playing this fun, energetic brand of baseball that it's hard to beat. It is. And it's proven so far. I mean, they're just under 500. Obviously not able to keep up with the Pirates and the Cubs and the Brewers in the NL Central, but they're having fun. And I enjoy watching games that the players are having fun because it helps me have fun as a fan.
There you go. That's fair. They've been like you said, when I see that they're 10-15, it doesn't really feel like that. It feels like they're winning like a decent bit. Mm-hmm. And before this week, they just swept the Texas Rangers, by the way. Before this week, they were 7-15. I don't think it ever felt like that.
No, it did not.
I feel like the Reds have been playing, like you just said, a very good brand of baseball so far this season. I mean, their starting pitching has been horrible. Aside from Graham Ashcraft, who's been like pretty good, their starting pitching has been horrible. And like when you really like look out and zoom out at their lineup, there are a lot of guys who are doing good, but at the same time, probably the other half of their lineup is doing absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
So,
and let's not forget that having Alexis Diaz in your bullpen really helps.
well, if you can get a lead into the 8th, 9th inning, you're pretty confident that lead is going to stay.
It feels like he's just
Their bullpen in general has been really good.
Yeah, but it feels like especially Alexis Diaz is just as good as any other high-end closer in baseball, and that's fun. That's really fun. The Diaz family having two just top-tier talent closers is not something I expected going into even last season when Alexis Diaz really put a blimp on everybody's radar about him. And Diaz, Edwin, of course, get well soon. Having a monster 2022 season, really cool duo to have in baseball.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, either later this year. Oh my God, sorry.
I know. That was a very motivational speach I just gave. I get that.
It is. It's very sad. It's very sad. Missing Edwin Diaz. Missing Edwin Diaz this season. No, I hope at some point in their careers we see Edwin and Alexis on the same team. I think it could happen, and I hope it does.
I wish that pitchers would still hit in the National League because it would be really fun to see one of them step into the box against each other.
I'm going to have to ask you to take that back.
No.
You do not wish that pitchers were hitting.
I'm saying just for that one specific reason.
No, I know, but
I do.
I'm saying no way.
Zach Greinke was like a career 210 hitter, 220 hitter.
Would you rather watch Zach Greinke or Joey Gallo? I'd rather watch Joey Gallo, the Italian.
Okay.
Joey Gallo. Speaking of Joey Gallo crushed it against the Yankees this week.
Was there? Did you have any doubt?
No, that was one of the most predictable things. The Yankees. This team gave me a shot. I came in. I did bad. They hated me. Rightfully so, but they absolutely hated me. So I'm gonna go to another team, and the first time we play you, I'm gonna hit 3 home runs in the series. Did he have 3 or 4 home runs?
3.
Gallo killed the Yankees. So did Sonny Gray, which is just ironic.
Yeah, both guys who were former Yankees and who really struggled playing in the Bronx. And I don't want to say playing under the lights. I think maybe it just coming over mid-season for any player to any team is difficult. But then coming over to arguably one of the biggest and most critical fan bases in all of baseball is even harder to do, and you're expected to succeed right away. And there are guys who can take it, like Giancarlo Stanton, who, when he first came over, the first game that he played at Yankee Stadium, puts up the platinum sombrero, five strikeouts. The next day, that night after the game was over, he went into the locker room and he said to the media, "It's my fault." And then he came back the next day and hit, I believe, 2 homers. Like, obviously there are guys like that, but then you have guys like Joey Gallo, who, yes, he struck out a lot, and yes, he did have his moments of glory with the Yankees. But
he didn't really have moments of glory.
Hey, that 48-degree launch angle home run will live in my mind forever.
Not really a moment of glory.
It was my moment of glory.
Okay.
But he will have, like, any player will have those moments, but it's when you don't have those moments is when you struggle, and some guys can't fight off the criticism and the hate that they get. And I get that, and I apologize to any player from any fan base who's been criticized like that.
Yeah, I don't really know if it's even that. Like, fight it off, but I genuinely just think something was wrong last season. Like, he wasn't making adjustments. He was just going up to the plate every single time, giving the exact same swing in the exact same part of the zone and just hoping the ball was right there. Like, I think it was a lot with approach, too. I don't know. But, yeah, no, I do also agree that some players just, especially when you come over in the trade and all that, you just can't play in New York.
Yeah, just not being cut out for it. It sucks, but it's baseball season.
And the other guy, like we said, who was in New York and then left, and now he's really good again, is Sonny Gray, who killed the Yankees this series in Game 1. He pitched 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 8 punchies. Sonny Gray came out there against his old team and shoved because that's what happens to the Yankees all the time.
True.
This was the first time the Yankees have lost a series to the Minnesota Twins since 2001. I was not even born the last time the Twins beat the Yankees in a series.
And I was born in 2001, so in my entire lifetime up until that point, I had not seen them lose.
No, you probably weren't.
True.
You probably actually weren't, yeah.
True. I've never seen
This is the first time.
The Yankees lose to the Twins in a series.
The 2023 Yankees,
until this week.
They did win Game 3 after losing Games 1 and 2. They beat up Kenta Maeda pretty bad. Have a lot of small ball in that game. But now the Yankees currently sit at... They just beat the Rangers today as well in Game 1 of their series. They sit at 15-11, which is 6 games back of first place because the AL East is just really good.
Yep.
And speaking of a team in the AL East who I really need to talk about is the Tampa Bay Rays. This kind of mixes with our Houston Astro talk. So, the Tampa Bay Rays hosted the Houston Astros this week. And 3-game series. It was the second legitimate team they were playing, technically.
And we gave a very good preview. Just to cut you off for a second. In our last episode, we gave a very good preview of... It was a test for both teams. Who... One was super hot, the Tampa Bay Rays, super hot, but was not playing the most difficult opponents. And the Astros, who were struggling out of the gate. And I think, if you want to take it back over, this series was everything that we wanted and more.
Yeah, so this series, we came into it like we said, the Rays haven't played a legitimate team. They've played the Blue Jays. That's the only legitimate team. They lost the series. So now you're coming in playing another legitimate team. Let's see what you can do. They go into Game 1, and they win it convincingly. 8-3 at home. They're undefeated at home. 14-0 at home after this game. Taj Bradley comes in with his nasty fastball, nasty changeup, and he pitches pretty well against the Astros. And he's the only one who gave up runs. They just come in, they win Game 1 pretty convincingly, like I said, and Rays fans are going ballistic. Yeah. Oh, does that count as a legit team? Is that a real team? Are the defending champions a real team? Well, if you want to count them as a real team now, yes, you just lost 2 out of 3 in a series to a real team. Because the Astros came back, they won games 2 and 3. Really good outings by Luis Garcia and Hunter Brown on back-to-back days. Let them win that. And now, just like that, you have the argument of, hey, look at the Tampa Bay Rays. Yes, they're 21-5. Yes, they have the best record in baseball by far. But both series they've played against good teams, they've lost. So does that say something about how legitimately good they are as a team? Because yes, you can say, obviously we gave the whole spiel in last episode of, yes, you want to be raking up these wins as much as you can while you're playing the bad teams. But then when you get to the playoffs, you're playing the good teams anyway. So you need to be beating the good teams anyway. This could just be okay, they lost 2 out of 3. They are good teams. It was good matchups, close games. If you give us another series later in the year, we'll probably win it or whatever, stuff like that. But it's just for right now, it's not a great look when you play 2 legitimately good teams and you aren't playing as good against either of them.
Yeah. It's hard to argue with that. The only thing that I will say is that Houston is the defending champions for a reason. They won a World Series last year. Sure, they lost, Justin Verlander, the unanimous Cy Young winner. However, they're still a great team nonetheless. And the guy who kind of stepped into the rotation because of Justin Verlander's departure, Hunter Brown, put up an absolute show.
Your guy.
In the last game of the season. My guy, Hunter Brown,
was
all the entertainment. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, no runs on 95 pitches. It was a great performance. I watched the game. because I've been a big Hunter Brown fan for, this is my second season now, of just really appreciating the way that he pitches. He did great this start. And if there was any time to really show Houston that you were a capable starter in this league, it was against this Rays offense. And he shut it down and left it to the bullpen. Hector Neris and Ryan Presley come in to close out the game. Hunter Brown looked great. And I think that was a big catalyst in why the Astros took the series, was the pitching in general. You know, you can say the Tampa Bay Rays have great pitching, and they do. There's no question about it. It's just that they got outclassed. You know, the Astros are number one, but the Rays were not number one. Is that... No. The Rays are like a top 5 pitching staff, but definitely not above the Astros, and they proved it when they came into this series.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, they only really scored runs in the first game of the series. Well, that's actually fully true. They only scored runs in the first game of the series. They scored 8 runs, and it was off Jose Urquidy. But the next 2 games, facing 2 right-handed pitchers, who righties they've absolutely mashed this season, I'll tell you about that in a second, they get blanked.
Yeah.
They get blanked by both of them.
Not a good look.
No, it's not a good look, especially when you're mashing the righties. But can you hit against the good righties is the question.
Right.
Because against right-handed pitchers so far this season for the Rays, they are batting .273 as a team with an .857 OPS as a team. They are absolutely mashing right-handed pitchers, and in the last 2 games of this series, they got absolutely dominated by 2 right-handed pitchers. 2 very good right-handed pitchers at that. So, I'm just... Right now, it's hard for me to even judge the Rays, because I am a very firm believer in give them the benefit of the doubt, because they... it's early in the season, and they are capitalizing on the teams that they need to be capitalizing on. I'm a very firm believer in that. But I need to see them beat better teams. Yeah. If they won 2 out of 3 against the Astros, I would have been like, Okay, I see you, Rays. I'm starting to believe you. But it's all thrown out the window now for me.
Yeah, I mean, their next 2 series, they play the White Sox, who they started not Sunday. Today's Friday.
Right.
They started today on Friday.
No, Thursday they started.
Oh, Thursday. Sorry. They started today on Thursday playing them, and shocker, the White Sox are just as terrible as everyone has seen them so far, and the Rays put up double digits. I can expect that for the rest of the series. And then they play Pittsburgh. Like, kind of just 2 walks in the park for them.
I don't think Pittsburgh's a walk in the park.
I can understand your thinking, but I think Tampa might have the upper hand, especially playing in the Trop.
Yeah, but I disagree. I don't think the Pirates are an easy win for any team in baseball right now.
Yeah,
not a single team in baseball is an easy one against the Pirates.
Okay, we're gonna have to just wait and see.
Yeah, that's not this weekend. Next week.
Right.
So that's gonna be a series. I'm gonna be watching that series pretty closely.
Yes, I will be as well.
The Rays, they're just... The fact that they're playing good is really helping them out in so many different ways. Like, for the first time since, I think, 2018, they're going to open the 300 levels in the Trop to get more fans in there, which is literally something they haven't done since 2018 because they haven't gotten enough ticket prices. Like, they haven't done it in the regular season since 2018. Playoffs different, but because they just don't get enough ticket sales. But now everyone wants to go since they're playing good, and they're going to have more seats. So playing good helps with everything.
Yeah, well, they're playing like one of the best teams in baseball and
baseball history.
Yeah, and if I am in the Tampa Bay area or on the west coast of Florida, I would be claiming to go see this. You know, why not? And we know the Rays, they're not going to make the tickets stupidly expensive to begin with. So now it just gives anybody in Florida something fun to do for a night or 2 nights, depending on how far you travel and when you go to see them, because that's fun. That's fun. And I have been a big advocate of it since we see it on TV all the time, how empty the 300s level is, because it's unfair. Like, I feel like it would add more to a stadium effect if that 300s level was open, and they're opening up next weekend for the Yankees.
I like it. I'm excited.
Yep.
Have it be as packed to the house as you can, especially for your first series against the Yankees all year.
Yep.
In the month of May, they play the Yankees 7 times. This next month is going to really tell us something about the Rays, because they play 7 against the Yankees, 3 against the Pirates, like we mentioned, next week, 3 against the Orioles, who have been really, really hot so far this season as well, 3 against the Mets, who just are one of the best teams in baseball, 3 against the Brewers, 4 against the Blue Jays, 3 against the Dodgers, and 3 against the Cubs. So all teams that are either really good or have started off really well.
Yeah,
so this is going to be a big test this next month.
They might be running full steam ahead into May, but let me tell you, they might be in for a big reality check depending on how they play.
Right. That's why I'm very interested to see how their May turns out. Like, when we're here a month from now, are we going to be saying, "Oh my God, the Rays are 42-9"?
No,
or are we going to be saying,
insane.
Yeah, or are we going to be saying, "Wow, look at them now. They're 25-25." You know, like, what if they have a really bad month? So only time will tell. I'm excited to see in a month from now what we're going to be saying about the Tampa Bay Rays.
Agreed. Hello, 1 month from now, me.
You're going to come watch this back?
Of course I will.
Oh, I forgot you watch every episode every week. Forgot about that.
Just as everyone else should. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Stick around. Look at that. Thank you.
If you are watching right now, feel free to subscribe, share, like, comment. Helps us out. Moving on. Let's talk more about a team in the NL Central that I thought we were going to pivot to when you started talking about the Reds. It's the St. Louis Cardinals.
We talked about them.
Not fully.
Okay.
Not fully. We talked about them a little bit. We said
we did miss one thing.
We said how they're 10-16, 10-17. They're not playing good at all. But what they did do is kind of surprised a lot of their fans this last week, and they sent down Jordan Walker, their number 1 overall prospect. They sent him back down to AAA. Coming at a surprise to many fans who think they should have, given him some more time in the big leagues to get adjusted. But first of all, how do you feel about this? Like, just give me one word how you feel about this.
Expected.
Okay.
I was definitely in the camp of he might have needed it, and I only say that because yes, he came up, and his numbers, when you look at them, he batted .274, he had a .718 OPS, a 101 OPS plus, 20 hits and 2 homers with 8 RBIs. He looked okay, but the issue is that he was going like 1 for 5, 1 for 4.
That's not the issue.
Well, it is, because you need him to produce offensively, and on top of that, he was a god-awful right fielder.
That's the entire reason he's not in the majors.
He's a natural third baseman, and you can tell that he is absolutely lost in that open field.
That is the entire reason that he's not in the majors right now. It's because his defense. Through just 20 games, he's got a -5 defensive runs saved, -5 defensive runs saved, and a .006 DWAR. Yeah. And we're just 20 games into the season. That is not good.
He was on pace to be one of the most historically bad defenders in baseball history.
It's just, like you said, you can tell he is not an outfielder. He's been doing it for literally less than a year. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to let him chill in the minors for a little bit just to improve defensively, because that's exactly what he needs. And honestly, wake up his bat a little bit, because you said, 1 for 4, 1 for 5. Sometimes he's not even, lately he hasn't even been doing that.
Yeah, he wasn't even getting hits towards the end of it. But
yeah, his last 11 games, he's batting .205 with a .475 OPS. He just wasn't hitting the ball in the air as much as the Cardinals wanted him to, or thought he would, or hoped him to. He just was hitting a lot on the ground, and it just wasn't working for him.
Yeah, and I do think part of the struggles at bat, and we've seen it as Yankee fans, is the change in position. We saw with Labor Torres a few years ago when he moved from second base to shortstop. I think Jordan Walker is going through the same thing of it's hard to stay comfortable in the box. It's hard to feel confident in your hitting ability and work on your hitting ability, especially at the major league level, when you have to dedicate so much of your time to playing defense. And especially St. Louis has a big, big outfield. It's a lot of ground to cover. It's a lot to ask. He just looked uncomfortable out there. Do we think that... Now, two cases here. Do we think either one, he stays down in AAA for a couple of months, works on his defense, and maybe gets a little bit more confidence in it, or maybe even switches to an infield position, like a second base or a shortstop, depending on what they might need at that time? Or do the Cardinals think about shopping him around? Because he still has great talent. It's just that when you have a top 2 third baseman in the league right now, there's no real path for him to come up and play his natural position. How do you feel?
I think...
Because it would be a very Cardinals thing to do.
Nah, he stays in the outfield. They're going to let him figure it out because there's no other option. They're not going to start him at another new position, like second base, or they can't start him at first base. They have Goldschmidt, and they have Arenado at the other corner. So the only other option would be second base. He's not just moving to shortstop. There's no way. It's either outfield or second base, and I think they're going to stick with outfield. And it's going to be weird, where he's going to be in that weird position of, I'm trying to learn defense, but my bat is hot. And the Cardinals are going to have to make that decision. Do we want his bat because he's been really good in the minor leagues, or do we not want to risk having the defensive struggles again?
You know, I'm shocked that they didn't take the baby steps of, air quote here, air quote, demoting him to DH only and just let him see the pitches. Who cares if he would have batted 240 or 250 strictly DHing? But
they can't, because they literally have too many people, because they have...
Well, who was their DH at the time? Who's their DH right now?
Their DH has been Nolan Gorman, or because... Well, yeah, but it's because they have, in their infield alone, they have Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, Tommy Edman, who's their everyday shortstop, and then you have a second base dilemma between Brendan Donovan and Nolan Gorman, who Nolan Gorman mostly just plays second, but Brendan Donovan can also play third. So
Brendan Donovan can do
it's a whole system. It's a whole system. That's why Jordan Walker, they just can't add another infielder in there. It wouldn't work. There'd be literally too many to give anyone fair playing time at a certain position, because Goldschmidt and Arenado are not moving.
Yeah, and their fourth outfielder is Lars Nootbaar.
Outfielder is Lars Nootbaar. It's like
there's too much talent.
Yeah.
And they want to call up a young guy who obviously has the talent to succeed at the major league level if he were to play his natural position, the position that he feels most comfortable at. So it's just a matter of circumstance for the Cardinals and Jordan Walker. It wouldn't surprise me that much if maybe he didn't come up until close to the All-Star break. You know, like, it wouldn't surprise me.
We won't see him for a little bit.
I don't think that we will see him for... we won't see him for a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, oh, the Cardinals might call up Jordan Walker again. Oh, never mind. They're deciding to test him out in left field this time, in AAA first. You know, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they keep moving him around defensively to try to get him as comfortable as possible in AAA.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do with him. But one thing or another, he needs to get the ball up in the air more.
Yes.
And you know who else needs to get the ball up in the air more?
Who?
Our weekly ding-dong picks. Sorry, that was really bad. Can I try that again?
No.
You know who needs to get the ball in the air more?
So, who'd you
Our
pick?
weekly ding-dong picks do. So, our weekly ding-dongs, which is our homer draft, for those of you that don't know, going into this week, last Thursday, Friday, you picked Adley Rutschman and Mookie Betts, and I picked Hunter Renfroe and Fernando Tatis Jr. I was leading in the score 7-5 at that point last week, and some things have happened since then.
That's true.
So, do you want to tell us what your homer draft picks did?
Adley Rutschman put up a dud. Currently leading the American League in walks now. I guess he must listen and knew that I took him, and he's kind of rooting for you. Adley Rutschman, big fan of Alex.
Yeah.
So good job on that. Put up a dud. And Mookie should have had 2 homers. However, one was taken away by Jack Sawinski when the Dodgers played the Pirates. So Mookie Betts finishes with 1 homer, bringing my total from a whopping 5 to an even better 6 for the week.
Hey, that's improvement. That's improvement.
Now, how'd your guys do?
My guys fared out a lot better than yours. So, like I said, I had 7 at the beginning of this week, when we picked last. And I picked Fernando Tatis Jr., who...
Writing was on the wall.
Writing was on the wall. He's just coming back from suspension. That whole suspension injury, that whole thing. He was going to hit a home run at some point. And he did. He hit a home run. He had 1. So that brought me to 8. And then Hunter Renfroe, my guy, had 2 home runs in a game. And then had 2 more home runs in 2 different games besides that one. And he had 4 on the week. Bringing my total to 12 for this week.
First to double digits.
Yeah, so right now it's 6 for Lewis, 12 for me. And we're ready to pick this week. Yep. Lewis, do you want the first pick? Do you want me to pick first?
I'll let you pick first.
I think I picked first last week.
Okay, I'll go first then. Okay. My first pick, I need just heavy hitters. You can't name one better heavy hitter than Yordan Alvarez of the Houston Astros. They play in Philly,
timeout,
and then in San Fran.
I would like to advise you, he is dealing with a neck injury that could land him on the IL.
Really? I did not see that.
So I
made my pitch this morning. Did that come out after this morning?
That's been a thing. He didn't really play in the Rays series at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I just wanted to be fair, so I do. This is news too. Yordan Alvarez is dealing with a neck issue, and he was out of the lineup on Wednesday. He was in Houston the entire week, feeling about the same as he did Tuesday. Before a determination is made, they're going to reevaluate him when the team returns to Houston. So they're playing tomorrow in Houston, so that's a gamble, because he could either be fine and they're going to play him, or he lands on the IL. So that is a you decision, but I do want to make sure that you know about that.
Well, I mean, if I have the opportunity to pivot.
I'll let you pivot.
Off of my American League pick.
So new pick.
New pick. You know who I'm going to go with.
I don't.
You know. You want to tell the people who I'm going with, or should I?
Is he a bobblehead?
I wish.
Okay, yeah, then I don't know.
Jared Kelenic of the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, God.
No idea who the hell they're playing this week, sadly. But I can imagine that Jared Kelenic, who has been on a red-hot tear so far this season, is going to continue.
What, does he have 7 homers?
I believe so.
Okay. I like it. It's fair.
Yep.
You know who I'm going with?
I do.
So I get back-to-back picks. I bet if I gave you unlimited guesses, you wouldn't guess a single one. So, this week, in my homer draft, for my AL pick, I get to snake around, so I get 2 picks. Yes, I'm going with Byron Buxton for my AL pick.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a sneaky good one.
He had a home run. He's had 2 home runs last week, and I feel like he's sneakily starting to heat up.
He is looking very good at the plate.
And for my NL, I'm going with a guy who I love so far this season. Funny name, funny person, got a lot of power. It's Joey Wiemer. I'm going with Joey Wiemer of the Milwaukee Brewers. Don't care who they're playing this week. I can check, but I do not care who they're playing this week or this weekend, because Joey Wiemer. They're playing the Angels this weekend, and next week they are playing the Rockies at Coors Field. So Joey Wiemer, big Joey Wiemer fan. Byron Buxton, Joey Wiemer.
You know, you've heard me in conversation plenty of times tell people about how good Joey Wiemer is. So, not surprising at all that he's finally making his debut in the homer draft.
His name sounds like Wiener.
That's
really what it boils down to at the end of the day.
That's true.
So, all Lewis, who's your NL pick?
So, I will allow you to throw a flag on this, but my idea for this week was go in and get the heaviest hitters possible, the guys who can do the most damage. And if you want to throw the flag, you can. I went with Pete Alonso but I do have a pivot pick if you don't think that that's right, because you did take him 2 weeks ago.
That's fine.
That's fine, all right. So Pete Alonso is going to stay in my homer draft. Or my weekly ding-dongs, excuse me. He's playing in Citi Field against Atlanta this weekend, and then next week, they play Detroit in Michigan. Let's go, Pete. My MVP pick. He's looked great so far this season. I'm going to say he has 2 homers against Atlanta, and he has 1 in Detroit. And he sits out a game in Detroit, just scheduled rest.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
Great predictions, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, so that's our homer draft picks. So you picked Pete Alonso and Jared Kelenic, and I picked Byron Buxton and Joey Wiemer.
Yep.
Current score is 12-6. We'll see where it ends up next week.
Best of luck.
Best of luck. Let's get to someone who's not playing next week. And in fact, he's not playing for the entire rest of the season.
Ugh.
It's Mariners pitcher Robbie Ray. He is missing the rest of the season because he is getting surgery to repair his flexor tendon. So, kind of a big hit for the Mariners. Yes, he wasn't playing fantastically before he got injured this season. He had like 1 or 2 starts where he didn't pitch great. But, he had an injury, so that makes sense. He's out for the rest of the season. The former Cy Young winner is gone.
Yes.
Big hit for the Mariners.
Big hit for the Mariners, but how big of a hit is it really? Like you mentioned, he was not his...
But playing injured.
Right, but still playing injured. But even if you go back to last year, he was a shell of the guy who looked damn near untouchable and beat out Garrett Cole for the AL Cy Young. He really was. And even last year, he was not that guy. In the playoffs, he came in relief and couldn't throw anything over the plate, especially to Yordan Alvarez. It didn't look good for him last year. Maybe it was starting, like the tension, and it was starting to hurt him last season, and that's why he kind of took a big drop off. But all I can really say is good luck to the Mariners, because obviously they're a great team, a really fun team to watch, with who they're going to find to replace Robbie Ray. Good luck to Robbie Ray in his rehab, and I don't think this will affect the Mariners as much as maybe Mariners fans are making it out to be, or as you and I might make it out to be, because honestly, what was his ERA even last season? Like, I just don't think that he was fully himself last season and this season. So I'm not worried in them trying to find a replacement and figure out what they want to do with their starting rotation.
Well, they don't need a replacement right now. They've had a replacement for the last few weeks because he was on the injured list for most of the season so far. So they've been dealing with this all season already. Right now they have Chris Flexen in their rotation. Mm-hmm. Right now their rotation is Luis Castillo, Chris Flexen, Marco Gonzalez, Logan Gilbert, and George Kirby, who George Kirby just put together a brilliant start tonight. If I could pull the exact...
Common George Kirby W.
It's a given. Tonight he threw 8 innings pitched against the Phillies, 4 hits, just 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts. He's had a really good start. Logan Gilbert hasn't been as good as maybe they wanted him to be, but he's still, manageable. Marco Gonzalez has been really good.
Chris Flexen exists.
He has not been good, but that's what I'm getting to. Luis Castillo's been brilliant. Yep. Every time he goes out there, it's a gem of a game.
Right now, for me, at least personally, it's Garrett Cole, Shohei Ohtani, and then Luis Castillo.
He's been amazing
in the AL Cy Young voting. But that gap between each one of them is massive. It feels like Garrett Cole has been the best pitcher on the planet so far.
Well, he has.
And then below him, you have Shohei Ohtani, who, yes, he's number 2, which still being the second best pitcher in the American League feels great, but that gap is massive. And then even that gap from Shohei to Luis Castillo feels massive. It's not even going to take a great performance out of these pitchers to really move up a spot in my mind. It's going to take a bad performance from the pitchers above them to change my mind.
That's fair.
It's the pitching so far has been great, and Luis Castillo has been part of that great pitching.
Yeah, and that gets me to my point. Think of how much better pitching this this staff would have without Chris Flexen in there and Robbie Ray instead.
That's
Yes,
good
Chris
Ray.
Flexen, but even then, yes, Chris Flexen has a 8.86 ERA right now. Robbie Ray would not have anywhere near that. He'd have a lot lower than that. He might have a 4, but even then, that's better than an 8.86. And Chris Flexen has had some really, really bad starts so far. So, it sucks for the Mariners, but I think they can manage.
Will the Mariners be buying another arm at the deadline?
Would certainly be crazy.
It would not surprise me if they did.
Wouldn't surprise me. Would be crazy.
Because their window, it's opening, and they need it. They need to win games.
Sure.
Baseball is all about scoring more runs than your opponent, and you want to prevent your opponent from scoring as many runs as possible. Or you can trot out Chris Flexen and be down 8 runs. It's whatever you want to do.
Yeah, their bullpen's been really good too. So decent. Their bullpen's been decent. Okay. Paul Sewald has 7 saves, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I would happen to agree with you. The Mariners. Speaking of really good pitchers, Spencer Strider is a really, really, really good pitcher, Lewis. Really good pitcher, Lewis.
What makes you say that? Enlighten me.
In case if you must know.
Oh, I must know.
The Braves played the Marlins in a series this week.
They did.
They won 3 of 4.
Really?
The Marlins took the last game of the series, but in the first game of the series, Spencer Strider did something very incredible against the Marlins. He went 8 innings pitched, just giving up 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, and 13 strikeouts. An absolute masterclass from Spencer Strider. Not only that, but he set some records during this start. This guy is incredible. We'll talk about him in a few seconds. I just want to say what exactly he did in these starts so far. So, in this last start, he took a perfect game into the 7th inning. That was broken up by a Matt Olson error. So, he still had the no-hitter going. Then his no-hitter was broken up in the 8th inning by a Gene Segura single. But he set the Braves record for the most consecutive starts with 9 or more strikeouts. He set that record at 9. 9 consecutive games with 9 or more strikeouts. And he is now tied for 3rd all-time in Braves franchise history for pitchers with 13 or more strikeouts in a game. And he's behind Warren Spahn and John Smoltz. So the guy is just setting records. He's being dominant. He switched his number to 99 because that's what his overall should be in MLB The Show.
True. That's true. Good on Spencer Strider, and I will admit, I apologize. His name's not Spencer. Oh, yeah, it is. Spencer Strider. Sorry. But good on Spencer Strider, and I will say I apologize right now. For the past, so far this season, we've had 3 guys flirt with the idea of throwing a perfect game who have brought it into the 7th or 8th inning. And every time when I tune in or watch the game intently to try to witness history, literally, with that batter, they will give up the hit, they will give up the walk or whatever, and I tuned into this game, and that's exactly when I saw the little bloop into left field, literally, before it even fully loaded into 4K quality on my iPad. I was watching pixels just move, and I was like, oh, that's that one pixel, that white pixel's the ball, and it's landed in left field.
Yeah, not great.
Not great. So I feel as if I'm cursed. So next time there's any sort of bid going on to be the most recent pitcher, not named Felix Hernandez, to throw a perfect game, I don't think I'm going to be allowed to tune in.
You can't.
Yeah.
That would suck though, because if it happened, you wouldn't be able to say you watched it.
I would have to go back and watch the entire game log.
You would.
I would.
You would.
I would 100%.
Just all red on his Baseball Savant page. It's crazy.
Yeah, and let's not forget an underrated part of pitchers that I really like to look at so far this season, Game Store, which if anyone's familiar with the NBA uses Game Store a lot to grade the performance of individual players. That's how Game Store is the same thing, but for pitchers. Average for pitchers is anywhere between 55 and 75 in that range. Spencer Strider's bid with perfection scored a 91.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That is impressive.
That's really impressive. So, good for Spencer Strider. Good for the Braves. Funny enough, the Braves are the exact opposite. They're kind of polar opposite right now of their division rival Mets, who they're going to play this weekend. The Braves are going into, I should say, Queens. riding this sort of high. Yes, they did drop the last game of the series, I believe, to the Marlins, but before that, they were on a 3-game win streak, and I think they're kind of, that they're snowballing that series win into this weekend playing the Mets. So it's going to be a bloodbath in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this matchup this weekend.
I really want to go to the Sunday game.
I would go.
Do you want to?
I think we should.
Do they have the Sunday night game?
Probably.
They do not. Oh, we could be home for dinner.
I would go. But yeah, so anyway, I'm very excited for this series. It's the first time they're facing off this season, right?
Yes.
And it comes at a good time. The Mets are 2 games back of the Marlins, the Braves right now. They have. Do they start that series tomorrow?
They start it tomorrow on Friday.
Very gonna be fun.
Well, today, of the time of this being uploaded
and being recorded.
Yes, and being recorded. Holy shit, it's 1 o'clock.
But yeah, so I'm excited for that one. The pitching matchups for that series. I want to see if there's good pitching matchups. So the pitching matchup today is Max Fried versus David Peterson. Which Max Fried, he got injured on opening day. Since then, coming back, he's been phenomenal. He is currently sporting a .06 ERA, or .60 ERA, rather. On Saturday, it is Spencer Strider versus Tyler McGill, which is going to be another really good matchup. And on Sunday, it's Charlie Morton versus...
Oh, whoa. Say his name right.
Charlie Morton.
Thank you.
Versus Butto. Someone named Butto on the Mets. I know he made a start this week, and he pitched pretty good. I think he went 5 2/3. Jose Butto. He's not too much on my radar, to be honest, but I think he might have to go on my radar. I'll watch him on Sunday, especially if we're at the game. I'll watch him on Sunday.
Yeah.
And if I like him, I'll put him on my radar.
That's fair.
Jose Butto.
Jose Butto.
Jose Butto.
Jose. I think the next 45 minutes should just be us saying his name.
I think it should be too. The Mets, they're looking to bounce back because this last week they did not have a good time. And they lost 2 of 3 to the Nationals, the worst team in the NL East.
Not a good luck.
The worst team in the NL East. They lost 2 of 3 to. They lost the series in Queens, which is why I'm not optimistic about this series coming up with the Braves. Mm-hmm. You just lost 2 of 3 in your home stadium to the Nationals. And mainly because Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore had back-to-back dominant starts against the Mets. And when I say dominant, I mean they were making them act the fool, bro.
They were making them look silly.
They were making them look very, very silly.
They were getting a little goofy with it.
Okay. Yeah, they were getting a little goofy with it. Just yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday. Mackenzie Gore went a grand 6 innings pitched with only giving up 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. And then just the day before that, to Josiah Gray, he went 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, and 9 strikeouts. So
hey, those are those 2 trades. The Scherzer-Turner trade and the Juan Soto trade paying dividends because
you just won a series against the Mets because of it.
You just won a series against the Mets because of it, yes, and they're showing these young guys are showing that they belong in the major leagues and they were worth that trade. I mean, if they continue to pitch the way that they're pitching, it's so worth it. And to flop to the other side of the equation because it takes 2 teams to play a series,
does it?
The one thing I want to highlight is Kodai Senga having his first real bad outing was not a good look, especially going up against Mackenzie Gore and the Nationals. For Kodai Senga, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, which honestly, when you look at the line, it doesn't look that bad, but he didn't have his stuff. His fastball was not at the top velocity that we have seen it to be. His slider and ghost forkball were just not working. He left it hanging way too much, allowing a couple of hits to get through the infield. Did not look good for the Mets. But if that's the worst of Kodai Senga, the floor is raised so high that means that the ceiling is even higher. You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things like, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to point out, though, that it is his first bad start in MLB.
Bad is like, you can even say it lightly because...
Yeah, it's not even that bad.
Yes, he gave up 5 hits, 4 walks, which 4 walks isn't great. The command wasn't really there. He only gave up 2 earned runs.
Yeah.
In 5 innings. Somehow his ERA is at a 4.15. But, like, it wasn't as bad of an outing as it might have seemed.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
There are definitely a lot worse outings he could have ended up with. You know what I mean? Like, he could have ended up with 5 runs, 6 runs, which would have been really bad. How is his season ERA at 4.15?
You want me to tell you?
Are we sure he didn't have another bad outing? 2 earned runs, 4... Oh, well, the last 2 starts before this one, he gave up 4 earned runs in both of them.
Really?
In only 5 innings pitched and 4 2/3 innings pitched.
Yeah, okay.
So he's been a little...
He's consistent.
Better than Shintaro Fujinami, who is not even on the Athletics rotation anymore.
Rooting for him, though.
I am rooting for him, but the A's did take him out of their rotation.
They did.
But
he's driving a bullpen role.
he hasn't been necessarily an ace either. So he's a little in the middle ground of he's been good, but not really giving us the innings we want him to. So yeah, good for you, Kodai Senga. Hopefully we're seeing Justin Verlander back soon. Scherzer's suspension should be done after next week.
Yes.
And I don't even know when Verlander is supposed to be coming back, if I'm being honest.
I believe last I heard, and this was coming from a Mets fan, that I heard this last bit of information from, hopefully before the All-Star break is what they're guesstimating for, which sucks.
It's a bad aim.
Very bad aim.
There's a lot of time from now to the All-Star break.
Plenty of baseball to be played before the All-Star break. Obviously, that's so far in the future, not to worry about it. But we can move on to our next topic. Just wanted to point that one out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The NL West. This is like my last big thing. The NL West. I really want to talk about them. It is a scrap. It's a scrap for the NL West. Right now, the Diamondbacks are still leading with a 14-12 record. However, the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants are all right there. The Dodgers are 1 game back. Padres are 1.5 game back. Giants are 2.5 games back. It's an up-for-grabs division. No team has kind of come out of the gates dominant, and all the other teams are able to stick around, even with not being as good as we thought that they would start. The Padres do have Fernando Tatis Jr. back, as we know, which is obviously a big help. He won them the game last night, or rather on Wednesday night, he won them the game. He had 2 really big hits. He got a lot of hate in Chicago. He was dancing while they were chanting, "He's on steroids," which I absolutely love for him.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to be getting hate, so I'm glad he's like ready for it and embracing it.
I think there's no better player in all of sports to heckle than Tatis because he's going to handle it so well. Like it's so hard to not love the guy and love how he plays baseball because it's so much fun to watch. And yes, he made a mistake. I think that, and I've said this for every guy, whether it be someone who's retired and should be in the Hall of Fame or a guy like Tatis, mistakes happen. Everyone's human. Everyone should collectively just learn how to move on. And that's my piece about it. But good on Fernando for the way that he's handling it.
Yeah. But that didn't really help the Padres too much because they still lost 2 of 3 to the Cubs, or they lost the series to the Cubs, or tied the series. They didn't win the series against the Cubs.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say. And they lost today, I believe, as well against the Giants. So hasn't quite helped them too much yet. He's yet to hit fire, which he will at some point. We know he's just going to set on fire and he's going to take the world by storm once again. But right now it's a scrap fight, you know.
Yeah.
A lot going on. The Diamondbacks they came out hot, and then they've started to struggle as of late. But the Dodgers have also kind of struggled lately. They just lost 2 of 3 to the Pirates, like we mentioned in the beginning of the episode. The Giants obviously are below 500, along with the Padres. So it's going to be a fun division there too, until one team runs away with it, which I think we might see one team just run away with it. That's kind of my prediction for this division. Like, we think it's close now, but I think one team will just start running away with it.
Well, the big question is, who do you think runs away with the division, and when do you think that starts?
I think it'll be the Padres, and I think it'll be after the All-Star break. I think we're going to go into the All-Star break potentially with 2 of these teams tied, and the other one right on the tail. Like, it's going to be very close towards the All-Star break, and then I think after the All-Star break, one of the teams is going to come out really, really hot, and the other 2 are not, and that's going to make a really big difference.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
So you think it's going to stay close for half the season?
I do. That's the way it's kind of going right now. Like, no team is like going on this 7-game win streak. No team is going on a 7-game losing streak. They're all just like winning 2, losing 1, winning 2, losing 2, stuff like that.
Yeah. They're very good at treading water right now, but in all honesty, I think that the team that we're going to really see pick it up and will eventually, and hopefully, and should win the division, I think it's going to be the Padres. I
agreed.
It's hard to not trust them and believe in them, especially with how well they're playing. And yes, you can say that maybe Manny Machado, who has struggled, really struggled, will turn it around. You can say that Fernando Tatis Jr., who's coming back, has not looked good so far, has not looked perfect so far. He'll come back and do well. Xander Bogaerts hopefully stays just as hot as he is right now for the whole season. Juan Soto, let's get that batting average up, big guy. They're not all firing on all cylinders yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if soon they all turn it around and figure out how to. There you go. I'm sorry, that took me a long time to get there.
It's fine. It's bound to happen at some point. And it's just a matter of, when will that point be? So we'll find out eventually, won't we?
Yes, we shall.
I'm excited. Last thing I wanted to do was this kind of favorite moment of the week. There's 2 things we haven't talked about up there that I really did want to get to. Pick which one you want.
Which one do I want? What's the second one?
Well, pick the one you know then.
Okay, well, Drew Maggi.
Yeah, go for it.
For the Pittsburgh Pirates has played, I believe it was over 1,100 minor league games.
This is Drew Maggi.
Yeah. Yes. Of the Pittsburgh Pirates, played over 1,100 minor league games. At the age of 31, he finally got the call to come up and play in the show, in the big leagues. Congratulations, Drew Maggi. It's a dream for everybody, and I'm happy to see someone who's so dedicated to the game, who's so dedicated to wanting to reach his goals, that he was able to tough it out for so long. Good job, Drew Maggi.
Yeah, the story of Drew Maggi. So he's this guy who, I believe he's a third baseman who has played over 1,100 games in the minor leagues throughout a whole bunch of different organizations and systems just to come up to the MLB. He's been called up in the past, but he's never actually made his MLB debut. And like I said, after 1,100 games in the minor leagues, he finally got to make his MLB debut. Yes, he struck out in his one at-bat, but he made it, and he did it, and that's really what matters, isn't it?
Yes.
So Drew Maggi, it was a great story. It was really fun. It was really cool just to see him finally get an at-bat. 33-year-old rookie. When was the last time that happened? I don't even think I could tell you legitimately. So I think it's pretty funny. It's pretty cool. Heartwarming.
Heartwarming for sure. Good job, Drew Maggi. I envy you because I wish I had the mental capability to tough it out that long and finally hit my goal of playing in the
1,100 games in the minor leagues that's a lot of games.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than a lot of people might think. So good job, Drew Maggi. The second thing I wanted to talk about, which I'm surprised this is the one you didn't see, is earlier this week, Kevin Kiermaier threw a young fan some batting gloves. This is just a heartwarming moment. The fan was baffled. It was a kid, and he was very happy, very starstruck. My question is, are batting gloves cool, or like what would be your if a player wanted to give you something, what would be the thing that you would want like the most? Would you want batting gloves, or would you want?
Okay, are we talking from Kevin Kiermaier, or can we
from
say
a player,
from our favorite player?
From your favorite, if your favorite player was like, here, like, and was throwing something to you or something, or handing something to you, what do you wish it was?
Okay, so I'm gonna say Aaron Judge,
Okay.
right now, just for the fact that I would love to have one of his bats.
Bat.
He's a massive dude, swings a massive bat. It's got to be heavy. It's got to be huge. I would love an Aaron Judge bat.
That's fair.
To answer your question, though, batting gloves are cool. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I love any sort of sports memorabilia that's used on the field. You know, it's hard when I go onto Fanatics or go into the MLB store and you see the game-worn, game-used stuff framed and all that. It's hard not to say that you don't want it. And if anyone was on TikTok this week, Alex Rodriguez, for one of his friends, signed one of the 3 home Yankees jerseys from the 2009 World Series. Like, all of that stuff is super cool. Even if it's just a meaningless game, it means something to the person who owns it. It would mean something to me if I owned, anybody's jersey that was game worn and had it framed and sitting behind me or somewhere in this room. It would look cool. So I think it's just any sports memorabilia that's worn on field is cool.
Okay. I like it.
What about you? What would you want?
I would love the catcher thing that they wear, that they flip up to look at the sequencing and stuff.
Would you want the information cards in it?
I don't need the information cards. I just want the thing. Because it has whoever the pitcher's name on it, usually, and it'll probably have the catcher's name on it. I think it's pretty cool. And I would love it from my new favorite player, Yan Gomes.
Yan Gomes.
Yan Gomes been destroying the baseball lately. He's batting like 305 with like almost a 900 OPS. And let me just tell you, Wilson Contreras is not doing that.
Yeah, from the catcher position, especially in Wrigley Field, that's really good.
Contreras has been good. He's got a 275 batting average, but Yan Gomes has been better. So Yan Gomes was the real catcher of the future in Wrigley, and I would personally love one of his flappy things that goes on your arm. Don't know the name for it, but it's the flappy thing that goes on his arm.
The flappy thing. Got
the information on it.
You know that if he flips it fast enough, he can fly away.
Good to know.
Yeah. If you ever come into contact with one of them.
Although Wilson Contreras might not have tackled his pitcher to cost him a perfect game, but I still think Yan Gomes' bat makes up for it. Okay. And the Cubs have been pretty good. So he's contributing to that. Before the season started, I said it. For the Cubs to do good, they have to be it's very circumstantial. They have to have guys play good who weren't really supposed to play good. And Yan Gomes is one of those guys. So everyone on the Cubs is clicking right now, and I would love to have Yan Gomes' catcher flippy thing with the information on it.
Catcher flippy thing, Yan Gomes.
Yeah. That's all I got. I just do want to take a quick look at some of the league leaders. You mind if I read off some league? Can we play a game?
Sure.
I'm going to pick a stat category, tell you the league leader and the number, whatever the number may be, and you're going to tell me if that is just a surprise. At the almost month mark of the season. Ready?
So I'm gonna say the player. I'm gonna say the stat.
No.
You're gonna say the player.
No, I'm gonna tell you the stat, player, and number, and you tell me if it's a surprise or not through 1 month of the season.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, on base percentage, or rather OPS, on base plus slugging. Max Muncy leads the big leagues with a 1.129. Surprise or no surprise?
I would say not surprised if he played every game against the San Francisco Giants, but honestly, it surprises me. Did not think that Max Muncy would be leading all of baseball in OPS.
Okay.
At any point this season.
Okay. Hits, just straight hits.
Okay.
Tied for first place, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Bryson Stott. Surprises? Not
really. You've known for the past 3 years now, I've been big on Bryson Stott. Absolute beast. And Acuna, fully healthy now from his torn ACL 2 seasons ago. He's looked great and could not be happier to see him thriving. I'm not surprised.
Okay. Batting average. Leading by a long shot. And when I say long shot, I mean long shot. Luis Arias of the Miami Marlins, the boys down south, with a 425 batting average. Surprise?
Absolutely not.
It can't be.
Not surprised at all. Boy down south, absolute crusher of baseball, Luis Arias.
Man, just won a batting title.
Yeah. Not surprised.
All right. Triples. Brandon Marsh, 4.
Surprised. Philly, small ballpark. Blows my mind that it's not someone like Shohei Ohtani or Acuna leading that who plays in a much bigger field.
Okay. Home runs, Max Muncy with 11. Surprise.
Not really.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
based on how
you weren't going into this season saying Max Muncy would lead the league in home
not for
runs.
the whole season.
But
But I'm not so. If I saw his schedule, I think I would have confidently said that he had 8 to 10
no
homers.
way.
Yeah, I would have.
No.
I would have. So him leading the league in homers is not surprising to me.
Wander Franco, 12 doubles.
Not surprising.
Okay.
Been on the Wander train for a while now.
Move to pitching really quick. Sonny Gray, ERA with .62.
Blown away.
.62.
.62.
Even Garrett Cole has an above 1 ERA now.
He does because of this.
There's no one with a below 1 ERA right now. Innings pitched, Garrett Cole, 40.2.
Not surprised.
Really, that does surprise me a little bit.
Innings eater.
I didn't expect him to eat innings like that this season.
Innings eater.
Earned runs. Shintaro Fujinami with 24.
Surprised.
Okay.
I really thought that he was going to be a lot better than he's shown so far, but it just means that the only place to go is up. Go Shintaro Fujinami.
Okay. What else can we get here? Saves. Josh Hader with 9.
Not surprised.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Last one.
Yeah, last one. We'll do ERA. Oh, wait, we did ERA. No, that's it.
Last one was saves.
That's just a way for us to, tell everyone the league leaders right now. Who's leading the league in what stat category? Who's playing really good? Who's
Who's not?
Well, who's playing really good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are our league leaders, and that's all I got, Lewis.
That's all that I have too.
That'll do it for this episode.
No other way to say it. Then let's go baseball. Thank you everyone for sticking around, watching.
Let's go the baseball.
Let's go the baseball. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share.
Steal my thing.
Follow. Yeah, I'm going to steal your thing.
Yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow.
I got an echo in this room.
If you like the video, genuinely like it. We thank you guys for watching. If you are still here, we love you guys.
Stay tuned.
And yes, keep staying tuned.
We might
growing as the season goes on.
Yeah, and if we go to the Mets game, you might
you'll get a vlog. You'll get a vlog if we go to the Mets game on Sunday. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Let's go baseball. Let's go everything, and peace. Where's my Monarchs logo? There it is.